Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we're looking at an F3 Compact. This is the Slicer Flipper from Curtis Customs. Let's talk about this. Alright, today we're looking at the Curtis Customs F3 Compact Slicer Flipper. That's what it's called. This is with the frag mill pattern, polished, stone washed, I believe it's Magnacut, and it's blasted. I'm just reading the specs off of here. Hardware is titanium blue. It's the fancy frag mill, excuse me, and the finish is a stone washed, and it's polished here. So with the frag, this is a custom knife, USA made. Pretty cool little knife here. But there's some story behind it. Let's talk a little bit about it. This was given to the channel from Midte EDC. This is in honor of Billy Berry, someone in the community that recently passed away, and she gave this knife to Rob's Nerdy Knives to the channel for a big 10K celebration. Now we're getting close to the 9K. 9K was coming really fast, and I wouldn't have had a chance to get enough things to make it a really big milestone kind of giveaway, because I had kind of done, like, you know, at 7K I gave 7 knives away, and I just couldn't do it at 8K. That came really fast. And 9K, we're almost there. And then I've got my son's graduations. I have Blade Show in Atlanta. Just a lot of things going on that I couldn't prep for 9K like that. And they're just coming faster than the other milestones were. So I decided that I was going to make 10K a really big celebration. At 9K, I already have 4 awesome knives, 3 for everyone, and then 1 for the members, the channel members, already lined up for that. That's going to be awesome. But for 10K, this is going to be one of the giveaway knives, and this is a very special knife. This is pretty cool. It is a Magnacut blade steel. This is USA made. This is hollow ground, hollow ground, titanium frag pattern with a polish on the outside. They are calling this, I guess, what are the term they use here? I want to just make sure. The blasted. They call this blasted. This looks like an acid wash, stone wash sort of kind of combination. It's something that Hinder might call a working finish. McNeese might call an atomic finish. Everyone has a different name for it, but it's, you know, very similar in that regard. But very cool. This is like a blue, but it almost looks like a purple. Blue purple, if you notice the 2 different colors of the anodization. I think that's really, really cool. I like that a lot. So I think that's kind of neat. This particular knife is, again, it's in memory of Billy Berry. And it was one of his collection pieces, and so I'm just honored. Very honored, very grateful, very humbled by this. And I think it's going to be a very special giveaway. A very, very special giveaway. So I'm super excited about this. I wanted to experience it. It is something definitely out of my normal aesthetic, and I know some of you guys are going to love this. For some of you, this will be a collection piece, right? This will be something you'll collect, maybe never use. For others, this will be a user piece. You know, if this aesthetic you really like. I know Curtis Customs is very popular with a lot of people. His aesthetic is a little different than what I normally go for. I can appreciate it. It's just not the thing I'm fully attracted to. And we all have different aesthetics. It doesn't mean we can't appreciate a well-made knife. We can't appreciate USA-made knife. I love anything made in the USA. I think that's fantastic. We can't always afford that, so that's why it's good to have alternatives, right? Something maybe made production-wise overseas, and that's nice. I get that as well, right? I mean, I have a couple of this one's from Taichung in Taiwan. This is like a Spyderco Sage 6, you know, and then I think I have a Spyderco, another knife that I'm going to be reviewing in the future is a Dragonfly. It's made in Japan. So, I mean, they're a little cheaper, right, than the USA made, because USA, there's handcraftedness. This is not just thrown into machine. This is a step up from Benchmade or Hogue or I was going to say Kaiser, but sorry about that. Kershaw, right? Those are more mass production. This is hands-on. I'd call this small batch, hand finishing mid-tech kind of a finish. This would be up there with something like Hinder knives, Spartan knives, Machine-Wise knives, stuff like that. So I think it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. All right, so the knife name, it is the Curtis Customs F3 Compact Slicer flipper. The manufacturer is Curtis Customs, which is a USA manufacturer. The designers, I believe, is going to be Curtis Customs, the gentleman who started the company. It'll be an in-house. I don't know Curtis Customs all that well. And some of you guys, if you know Curtis himself personally, you've met him or whatever, feel free to comment down below. I'd love to hear about that. The materials on here, we already talked about titanium frag pattern, titanium clip with an interesting milling design. I like that. It's kind of like a little target there. I think that's cool. You've got this beautiful anodization giant pivot, which is very, very typical of Curtis Customs types of knives. We've got a Magnacut blade with a hollow grind right here, very thick blade, substantial jimping up there and jimping back here. That does give you some good presentation, but it does come to a very thin, very slicey edge, which is nice. So you'll be able to cut, but it's not going to be like sliced through super thin kind of thing. It is a compact knife, as you can see with my large hands with meaty fingers. I have a good presentation with the finger choil area. So definitely finger choil area, you can get up there, probably extra large, big hands with big meaty fingers. As my hands are, if you have an extra large hands with normal size fingers, double extra large hands with thinner fingers, about equivalent to this in width wise, right? You may be a little longer, but this is if you're looking for a small knife that's got some substance and you feel like you could really, use it hard, I think this would do quite well. It does have a ceramic ball detent, ceramic ball cage bearings inside. It is titanium on steel, so this has been carbonized, obviously, and so you have to keep that in mind as well. So don't get oil in there. It does have some jimping on the flipper, and the flipper works pretty well. When you drop it, it does have a nice little action. I think it'll break in well. I don't know how new this is, but I feel like it hasn't quite broken in completely yet. There is a fuller that does work and does seem to work well, and so I think that's not bad. It's relatively centered. It seems to be maybe a little bit to the right, but maybe it's dead center. Yeah, it's dead center. So there you go. Very, very cool little knife, as you can see. It does have this back spacer with jimping. If you push down, it does lock you in place. This right here does go all the way to the edge, which is really nice, so you can get a good presentation. This jimping up here, you can slide over it, but you push down, you're locked in even with gloves. I mean, this thing's gonna lock you in. So you've got good presentation here, right? Very robust blade, I like that. Opening and closing, we have the flipper, we have the fuller. I think that's nice for closing. You do have a lock bar. It is a frame lock. There's a cutaway. You have access to it. It is chamfered nicely. It's not like that radius chamfering where it cuts into your hand. So it's relatively easy to disengage. It is a little smaller. So if you don't like smaller knives, this may not be your cup of tea, but they do make an F3 that's not a compact. They make a much larger version. So if you like the aesthetic, you like the look of it, maybe look at that one for as an alternative. I've seen those, and when they first came out, I can tell you that their knives have certainly improved. I checked out some of the first ones. They were a little interesting, and they've just gotten better. And so I like this. All right, as far as what else? We have opening, closing blade, hollow grind. We talked about Magnacut, all that good stuff. Let's do some measurements. See how heavy this guy is real quick. Get my scale over here without knocking everything over. All right, so I'm gonna guess it's about 4 or 5 ounces, somewhere around there. 3.6 ounces, not too bad. 3.6 ounces is not super heavy at all, I don't think. We are dealing with a smaller knife, so let's get the measurements here so you can get an idea how small this guy is. It is 6 1/4 inches. So 6 1/4 inches. Your grip area, if you do the finger choil, which I think is reasonable, you have about 4 inches, right? If you don't do that, then you have 3 inches. So it's really smaller hands, right? The blade itself from the tip to the back is 2 and, is that, where's the half? That's the half right there. Okay. It's not marked well for me. For some reason, I just lost myself. All right. So yeah, it's 2.5, just under 2.5 inches. The blade cutting length is actually going to be, sorry about that, got a little distracted there, 2 1/4 inches. Very small blade, probably very safe if you're under 3 inches. So that's nice to know. Let's look at the blade stock thickness. This is where the Curtis Customs definitely comes in. This is where you almost feel like it's got like a little Medvert kind of feel to it, because it is not a thin blade. So here we go. 167 thousandths of an inch. We are closer to 1/5 of an inch than we are to 1/10 of an inch, right? So it's a thick blade. It's a thick boy. All right, so what is this category? Well, it is not a budget knife. It is not a regular knife. This is right at the very peak of higher end knife. When I looked at this up, as of this video, this was like $595. So it is just a hair shy of being in the custom mid-tech realm, which is $600 or above. With tax shipping, this probably falls into the custom mid-tech range officially, because my range is higher end is 300 to 600, and then anything 600 above I consider mid-tech custom. And with shipping, with tax, if you're buying it anywhere, if you're buying in a store, this is definitely going to fall into that custom mid-tech. Barely. It is not a cheap knife. It is USA made, and you know, buy what you love and love what you buy. Some of you guys are going to love this. Some of you guys aren't, and that is okay. That's why there's so many choices out there. So, you know, for those of you who aren't fans, that's fine. Move along. You know, there's lots of other good stuff out there. I probably will not add this to my collection, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the ingenuity and what they do with this. What I love to do is keep checking out, because eventually they'll have a design I'm going to love, you know, and then maybe there'll be something I'll add to my collection. At least it's good to know, to see how they progress and how they improve, because I can tell you a lot of nice knife makers have gotten better. Some of them just really perfect their craft, and it makes it just fantastic. And some of them, you know, you get what you get, and if you like it, it's great. And if you don't, you know, you don't. But I think this is well made, as far as a USA made one. For the aesthetics and the intended audience of this knife, this makes me feel like a thinner Medford in that regard, right? It's almost like if Medford crossed with, I want to say, Hinder knives. This is kind of what I would think. It's like a Medford Hinder kind of crossbreed, right? Spartan knives, I've always said, is like a Hinder knives and a Chris Reeve knives. Yeah, Hinder and Chris Reeve knives, that's a Spartan Harsey. But this right here feels like a Medford meets Hinder knives. That's how I'm going to describe it. That's my feeling on that. So is it EDC hard use collection piece? Absolutely could be a collection piece. Definitely in the price range of a collection piece, 100%. Some people may make it a safe queen. You might have it in your collection, not carry it. Perfectly understandable. I have a different perspective. Every knife I own, I carry. If I don't, then it's catch and release. That's just my personal perspective. I could have a large number of collection of knives, and if I carry and use them all, great. If it's a smaller collection, great. I just don't want to have knives that I don't enjoy and carry, right? That's just my personal perspective. That's what I choose to do. I have one knife that's kind of on the cusp of that. It was a weird find, and it was just one of those things I paid way less than I should have. So I still carry it because I keep to my principle. I don't hard use it at all. I'm very careful when I carry that one, but I still carry it because I've said I'm going to carry my knives. And so, you know, if I had anything that was close to, you know, a safe queen, that would be it. But this is not. This would be something I would absolutely carry. All right, so is it hard use? I feel like it would be. I feel like it's solid. Like I had a Hinder knives, I would hard use them. I had a Chris Reeve knives. I actually have a large Spenza. I love that knife. I would hard use it. Yeah, have I hard used? No. There's only two knives I've really hard used. It's my McNeese knives. For whatever reason, I love McNeese knives to hard use them. They just work. And my TRM knives. But I've also had those quite a long time. And so I like to hard use both of those knives. I think they're both outstanding knives. Doesn't mean I wouldn't hard use some of my other knives. Certainly would be the case, right? At some point. Is it EDC? Absolutely could be EDC. And EDC is, you know, this is where I say buy what you love and love what you buy, or collect what you love and love what you collect, right? And if this is something for that, then go for it. Now let's talk about the overall ergos and feel. Handles. You know, it works. It does. It's nice chamfering all the way around. It's got nice cutaway. There's no sharp edges. It is a little sharp there, but it's not in the way. There's no sharp edges up here. I've got to turn off that. Sorry, that's my door. It's not your door. If you have a Ring doorbell, that's ours. Everything is pretty comfortable. It does feel pretty comfortable in hand. There's no, you know, hot spots when you get in there. If you have bigger hands, it might be a little more comfortable. If you have a little smaller hands, it might be a little more comfortable. I'm right in that between where I can feel it there. It's not if I hold down like this, it's super comfortable, right? But if I happen to grab it up here like this, I can feel it. But it's not like terribly uncomfortable. I'll say that. Opening and closing works pretty good. The flipper works well for a smaller knife, but I always struggle with smaller knives sometimes because they're hard to deal with because my hands are kind of wide and big old meaty, and so they kind of get in the way of flippers. They get in the way of all sorts of stuff. So you can see like this, you know, I got a paw. I can like cover this thing completely, hide it in my hand. You wouldn't even know it. So that to me is the definition of a small knife. And it's very few small knives that work well like that. So just keep that in mind. As far as textures, this has got all the texture you could want. It's not aggressive texture. You go over it, it's comfortable, right? It does grab your pants. It could be a little bit of a pocket shredder. You know, you might consider taking this off and maybe softening some of those edges there, but that's up to you, right? But it is pretty nice. It's got a nice feel to it. The jimping is outstanding on the flipper back here, and the reason why you have jimping back here. So if you're ever doing like a push cut or something like that, like sometimes people hold this, they'll hold the grip. If you're like trying to push through leather, plastic, cardboard, and you're doing a push, or you could do a pull cut, right? You might do that as well. Having jimping here can be nice in some places. Here, jimping is nice, especially if you're trying to cut something precision and you're pushing in. You don't want a finger slipping off, especially if you're wet or something oily. So, I mean, that's nice. That's nice. There is a lanyard hole, so you definitely have a place to put a lanyard if you want to. The clip is functional. Not my favorite type of clip. I don't know if they have replacement clips. It's interesting. It's definitely very artistic. Definitely very, very. It's not tactical, but I mean, it's got like a sight, so it's like, you know, precision. Maybe like you're right on target kind of feeling as far as production of the knife. That's the way I'm going to go with it. As far as overall feel, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's definitely way better than I thought. And I will tell you, I checked out some of the Curtis Customs when they were kind of still pretty new. I don't know how new they were. When they were first new as production, he might have been doing customs for a long time, but when they were first kind of production, they're starting to get into the stores. I checked them out. This is way better. They've gotten a lot better. So I mean, dibs, kudos to that. I mean, definitely big shout out for that. I really do appreciate little details like that make the knife much more comfortable. Because sometimes people just want a big old aggressively nice knife and they don't think about the ergos. There's a lot of little touches that when you get into this range that can separate you. That really can separate you. And I will tell you, I mean, you look at a Chris Reeve knife, you look at a Machine Wise, you look at any of the other Midte Hinder knives, you look at, I'm looking over here, McNeese, they all have the little touches, little things that really set it apart. And they have definitely started, I see the traits of that in here. And other knife makers that make great knives, I've seen that. Les George, by the way, their Midte, the VECP, which I have, that's phenomenal. Just really great touches on the Midte. So overall, that's nice. That's nice. It does disengage pretty well. It's easy to access. Now it is carbonized. This is not my knife. This was given to the channel, and it has a little stick, and I don't know if that's just from use or because it's brand new and hasn't broken in. Some of these knives tend to break in after a while. And so, I don't know. Maybe it's going to break in a little bit more. Maybe just put a little bit of graphite on there. I'm not going to carry it. I'm not going to use it. I just wanted to get a handle, get a feel for it, because it's going to be a giveaway knife. I don't want it to keep it as pristine as it was given to me. So for the next person, they would enjoy it. I didn't disassemble it. I didn't do anything with this. I just kind of is as is, right? And I thought this is a beautiful knife to give away. So, and again, I am so grateful to Trish from Mopatty EDC for allowing us to have a Billy Barry's knife for this giveaway. We really want to honor Billy, and thank you to Billy for, he's got a wonderful collection, and I appreciate her sharing that. And this is a great tribute and a great remembrance of Billy, you know, something like this. And so it's going to be very special when we do the giveaway for the 10K. I'm very honored, very excited about that. And this is just a really cool knife to get to check out. I've checked out other knives before Billy passed away, and he was such a generous, kind person, and I really appreciate that. Just want to let you guys know that why this is such a meaningful, awesome thing to get a chance to review and to share with you guys, right? All right, so let's talk about the Fidget Factor. For a little guy, and Fidget Factors always get dinged on little knives like this, especially with my big meaty hands kind of struggle. And this is one of those that I struggle with. And it's because it's wide, it's thick, it's hard to get around some things. So for me, it's a little bit more of a challenge. Now, some people are gonna like little chunky little knives like this, and this is just perfect, right? Maybe smaller hands. It's not bad, I will tell you. You know, just in handling it here at the table and my desk, it's gotten some nice use out of it. I will say that I will give this I'm going to give it a 5, a solid 5. This is a solid 5 out of 10 as far as fidgety goodness. It's a little challenging left-handed. You can do it. It's a little challenging, right? And I think it has more to do with my hands and my dimensions. And yeah, the pivot starts to move. I haven't even. I probably need to tighten this as well. You can actually see that it loosens up. So I would put some Loctite in there. I just haven't, because it's, again, I didn't want to do much with this. I just want to experience the knife. And I do know when I tighten it up, it's dead nut centered. And you can see it's already kind of traveling, so I probably should put some Loctite on there before I finish this so it doesn't travel and scratch the blade. But yes, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. As far as fidgety goodness, now this is just my personal opinion because of the way it feels, and again, it has to do with my size of my hand. So take that into consideration, right? If you have longer, thinner fingers, even though your hands may be large or extra large, I think you'll do well with this because it's a wider hand, which does well with longer fingers. And you'll do better with the finger control. It'll fit more comfortably. My hands are wide and chunky, right? They're big, meaty fingers. So I spread out like an extra large, double extra large hand, but I got the length of a medium hand. So it's like a weird dimension here. And if anybody's similar, you can relate. But if you're not, then, you know, just keep that in mind. And here, I'm gonna tighten that real quick, just because it was already starting to loosen up. I'm gonna grab my Skiff Workshop little finger bit here. And I think, is it this side? Yeah, you can see how it's already moving. And let me see if this side's loose. Yeah, that was a little loose. And there we are, dead nut center again. All right, and the action's so much better actually when I tighten that. So I gotta Loctite that. That, yeah, it just feels. Yeah, you know that I'm glad I did it, because I was about to give it a rating out of that 5 out of 10. I was gonna give it a fidgety goodness, and I was gonna give it probably a B minus. I'm gonna give it a B plus. I'm gonna give it a B plus. Yeah, this gets a B plus. Almost an A. I don't know. It's just the size. If it was a little more, I bet if I did the F3 non-compact one, I'd probably give it an A. I'm pretty sure. That would be a much better fitting size. I do remember those being a little more friendly to my size hand. But if you like smaller knives, this is definitely worth checking out. Is it recommended? Yeah, I'm going to recommend it. I am. I'm not like way over the, oops, sorry, just hit the mic there. Hope I didn't disconnect today. Okay, good. I'm like knocking everything here today. I'm definitely going to recommend it. I'm not going to be like, I'm all, you know, it's not favorites. I'm not going to put it in my favorites. To be fair, it's not my favorites. But I'm definitely going to recommend it. I think it's a good knife. Definitely worth considering. So if you like the look of it, the aesthetics, you've handled them, you say, oh, these are great. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I think it's interesting when the pivot is on there, it's nice and solid, and it's not loose. The action is significantly better and really nice. Actually, I just realized that. Yeah, so that really does almost change my. It's not going to get into my favorites, but it's the reason why I'm going to make it recommended. I actually was on the border, very much not sure if I was going to recommend it. I wasn't going to recommend against it, but I'm going to recommend it. I think so. I think so, definitely. So let me know what your thoughts are. If you have a Curtis, maybe you have an F3, the full size. I think I might have a while ago handled an F3, but it was an older one. Might have been Mr. Eddie who let me borrow a Curtis. And I don't know if it was an F3 or an F5. I think that was an F5. I think there's a difference. Anyways, I've reviewed hundreds, probably 1,000 knives now. I know I've handled over 1,000 knives. So it's to me, it's insane to have handled that many. It's an honor. It's awesome. But at the same time, it's hard to remember them all. Some of them really stand out in memory. Some of them not so much. But this definitely is very, very cool. All right, well, thanks for checking this out. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, or informative, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button down below as well. Subscribing and liking the channel really helps me out. It allows me to produce more content, do more things, ultimately more things for you guys. So thank you to everyone out there who's part of the channel, who watches the content, who's not part of the live stream, in the communities, the chat, the comments. Thank you guys. I sincerely appreciate you. If you haven't already, maybe consider hitting that notification button as well, so you can be notified of future content like this and other videos. And a big shout out to my channel members. I appreciate you guys so much. You do two amazing things for me. You encourage me. Just by being there, you remind me of why I love knives. And sometimes, you know, you need a little reminder, especially when you work a lot of hours, you got kids, graduating, a lot of stresses in life, and it centers you. Friends, people like you in your community. It's just nice. So thank you. The other thing you do is because of your generous support of the channel, and I mean generous, and I thank you for that. You allow me to do things sooner than I ever thought I could. You allow me to check out knives that I never thought I'd be able to check out because I can cover the cost of shipping. Some of the knives, I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month in shipping. When I have the big 10K giveaway, I'm going to be spending probably $450 in shipping. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a big expense. So that's why I have to plan for this. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to give away 10 knives. If you're giving away a $600 knife, this is not a $8, $5 shipment. This is going to cost me $30, $40 to ship one knife. So just keep that in mind. And if you got to ship 11 knives, right, and some of them might be more expensive than that, it's a lot. So I appreciate the channel members for that so very much. I really do. The other thing you allow me to do the weekly giveaways for everybody. So we continue to do a Budget Banger giveaway, and that has a lot to do with the channel members. That really does help me to continue to do that. So I thank you for that. I appreciate you for that. So thank you guys. As a small way for me to say thank you to you, I do two amazing, or well, maybe they're amazing. Maybe you think they are, maybe not. I do two cool things for my channel members. I do a once a month members exclusive giveaway. It's above a Budget Banger. So every week we'll do a Budget Banger giveaway, but that once a month when we do the members giveaway, we will do a members giveaway, and that'll be, you know, $100 to $300 kind of something. Usually I try to make sure it's something that maybe you'd love to win or love to give as a gift. So that's what I do for the members, a small way for me to say thank you. The other thing I also do is, like all brand new channel members, love to mail a channel sticker and a thank you note. And that kind of applies to anybody. So as long as you're as long as you're a channel member actively at the time, you've never asked or received a channel sticker, email me with your name and address. I'd love to mail you a channel sticker. 99% of the time, that's new channel members, but it could also be someone who's been a member all along and never asked, or someone who was a member and then became a member again. So love to send that to you. Just email me your name and address. If you haven't already, check me out on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.